Okay, we're giving this another try. Right now I don't see a bunch of circles going around and it doesn't have a yellow button in front of me. So good morning and welcome to Monday. You live by the tech and you die by the tech. Sometimes you got to get in and tweak a couple numbers, but that's the first time that's happened to me. Thank you for hanging in there. And good morning, Gustavo. This morning, 6,979 homes on the market. We did not sell very many homes over the weekend, maybe a couple hundred. We have 4,126 come on this week. Much bigger number with 3,760 go under contract. That's a difference of 366 and 1,807 price reductions. The word is getting out, my friends. Here we are. You can see the listings starting to come up. And then you can see that we are still hanging in there. Sales are just, I don't want to call them lagging. I just want to call them wait and see. Everybody's kind of doing the old wait and see bit out there. And it's a lot of stuff coming up this month. I'm going to jump right into the charts here in a minute, but we have the eviction moratorium officially ended today. So we have Arizona has 5.9% of our renters are behind with an average of $6,800. Now, if there's any property managers out there, I seem to recall that the average delinquency rate was about 3% anyway. So this isn't looking like an alarming number, but it's something to watch. We'll see what happens. In 6 weeks, all the federal unemployment, the additional $300 goes away. And right now there's 7.5 million people that are getting that. But there are 9 million active open positions to get a job. So some of those 7.5 million got to go out and grab some of those jobs. So that's going to be another thing to take a look at. Going to be a lot of news about the budget ceiling, yada, yada, yada. We always go through that, and we'll see what happens this time. It gets kind of annoying after a while, doesn't it? So what's going on August 1st? Although inventory remains very low by normal market standards, the rise in active listing counts over the past 4 months has been very noticeable. Here's some examples. Buckeye went from 60 on April 1st to 155 on August 1st. Casa Grande up from 39 in April to 125. Fountain Hills up from 27 in April to 70. But then you go down and look at this. These are what's considered kind of the adult communities over 55. Rio Verde down from 18 to 13 between April 1st and August. Sun City unchanged. I mean, let's look at the numbers here. Let's see. Here's Sun City. Take a look at their inventory. It's still way down here. And then we go to Sun City West. Their inventory is down. And then we jump into Sun Lakes, and it's down. Now, compare that to 2006. Just to put this into perspective, you start looking back before the big crash, take a look at this. That's a huge amount of inventory, 329 homes down there. And if you just go back to 2018, these past 3 years have kind of muddled along, similar path here. But you can see that in July and August, Sun Lakes has always had the lowest amount of inventory, and then it dips up again towards the end of the year. And you can see that in most of the retirement communities. Compare that to something like, let's say, let's go to Phoenix. We'll put in the same years here. This is 7,330 listings in Phoenix, and today we have 986. So remember that real estate can't crash until we start hitting those numbers that you see at the very top. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to crash in this zone here. So something pretty dramatic has to make this chart fly to the top. Active listings. Arizona City here they're just kind of staying right down there at the bottom. I'm going to get rid of 2006 just to clean this up a little bit. But look at Arizona City. Boom, boom, boom. That's all over the map. That's south of Phoenix for those that don't know. Chandler, you're coming up. You've almost met last year. You're going to meet last year in probably 2 weeks. So there's a lot going on there. Not quite sure where this is going to end up, but here's the Federal Reserve saying new privately homed housing units started. So, and see, we didn't build anything here. This is when we crashed. Then we kind of started building. And then we went down again last year, just during the recession. Now the builders are back up. That's what the Federal Reserve is showing us. Existing home sales, They've kind of a little bit down, a little bit up. Nothing dramatic there we're seeing from the Federal Reserve. Mortgage rates today, 2.84% today, 2.86 yesterday, which essentially meant Friday. So they're still staying low. That's still really good news. The one of the things that I kind of speculate on, what's going on with the over 55 communities and the adult communities. Here's my theory. We've heard all this talk that says that baby boomers are not moving. They're not putting their houses on the market. And so people that are retired and living in those communities are staying put. They're not putting their homes up. That's why you see all of the retirement communities around Arizona, that number just hanging in there. Now, in the rest of the market, it's hard to extrapolate those numbers to see if that's prevalent everywhere else. But my theory is it is. Just because you're 65 doesn't mean you have to live in an over 55 community. But if you're over 65 or over 55, you're probably staying put. And that's what we're seeing all over the country. They're staying put. But when you separate it out into over 55 communities, it becomes really obvious. Gustavo says, do you think we have a second wave of COVID cases? Would inventory of homes fall again? You know, it's our first pandemic, so I can't even guess. I have no idea. Now YouTube's giving me a buffering warning again. I'm just going to have to ignore it. That one's hard to tell. My opinion on the COVID thing doesn't matter anyway, but it's an interesting thing to watch. So here's a report. 9 out of 10 worst cities for first-time home buyers are in California. Anybody surprised by that? What cities is it? It's Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco, Santa Monica, right on down the line. And then you end up in Boston, Massachusetts on number 10. So that's an eye-opener there. Bank rate, the 11 worst states for retirement in the United States. Where are they? Well, Washington, you're number 11. Idaho, number 9. Tied with Connecticut. Then you have Alabama, Arkansas, Maine, Alaska, Montana, Kansas, Minnesota. Number 1 is Maryland, worst places to retire. So that is not looking pretty, huh? So Arizona ranks up there in the top 5 as places to retire, and so does Nevada, because Nevada doesn't have an income tax, so people like to zip over there. So he says, one of our neighbors sold their house last month during the open house. There was a line of cars down the street. Their immediate neighbor on the other side had their open house on the weekend. Hardly anyone showed up. There's still a lot of vacationing going on. Open house traffic is really difficult to gauge right now. I haven't had one in over a year, but I've been to some just the past few weeks, and some really nice house, really nice neighborhood. Nobody showing up. You drive a half a mile or a mile away, there's an open house, and they're lined up. It's really, really a strange market. Hard to predict. I do think that there is some jitters going on right now with this new outbreak, this new Delta variant. I think it's causing uncertainty. Going to affect things long term. I think there's another thing that we're seeing too as well, and that is that the buyers that got beat up that said, I'm done, I'm just not going to go shopping for a while, I'm going to wait and see what happens, had to renew their lease. So they're out for a while. It's not like they said, oh, I'm going to stop looking for houses. I think they had to go back and sign another 6-month lease, maybe a year lease. And we saw them start backing off in June and July. So what's that mean? That means December is probably the only time that they're eligible to get out of their lease, which I feel they're going to come out and start looking in earnest in October. Because by October, and this is what the numbers are showing us, folks, by October, we are going to see some inventory numbers that are going to start approaching somewhere up here in the green area that's going to stop the bidding wars. And in October, I think the buyers are going to come out. I'm calling this a yo-yo market. I could be wrong, but let's wait and see what happens in October. In other words, the buyers have backed off. They're just not comfortable going out shopping for homes right now, and they're going to come out and try it again before their lease renewal expires. And that's probably going to be the end of September, October, and then we have the holiday slowdown. So I have a question here. Any price trends on new construction? Is it going up or is it leveled out? It's still going up. Everything is still going up until we get to levels. I'm sitting here looking at 69, 79. Until you get to 15,000, 20,000 as active inventory, prices are still going to go up. Not as much. We're not seeing them going up at the 4.5% clip that we had in April and the 3.5% clip that we had in May. We're going up about 1% a month right now. And that's going to be kind of muddling along that number for a while, I think. It's hard to guess. There's a lot of outside influence in the financial world that's going on. The reverse repo is still at $1 trillion, a very complicated thing that's going on in the banking system that the Fed is trying to get everybody to ignore, but it's out there. It just means the banks have too much cash, if you can believe that. And so there's some hiccups that could happen. And then, like I say, with the Congress tried to jump in and stop this rental moratorium extension right now, but Supreme Court already put their foot down on that one and said they couldn't do it. So are these rentals going to all of a sudden hit the market? I don't think so. Mom and pop rentals, I think maybe some of them are burned out. They've lost some money, so we're going to see a few of those homes come on. In other words, if I owned a couple rental houses and I've been sitting here for 18 months and haven't got any rent, I'm probably going to cash out. But that's just going to be a trickle because that's only 5.9%, 5.7% of renters in the Phoenix area are behind on their rent. Normally it's about 3%. So I don't see that being a tsunami of homes coming up. Forbearances are nothing right now. There's just not anything going on in the forbearance market that's going to make the market get hit with a flood of inventory. Until that happens, this is where we're going to stay. Hey, I hope the stream worked. It's going to be a short week. I'm going to be flying out of town on Thursday. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream on Friday or not. It depends on the connection where I'm staying up in the Seattle area. So have a terrific Monday. Let's hope the stream goes better tomorrow. Thanks, folks.